here we go. Okay. Anyway. God, I don't even know where this is recording to. That's going to be an adventure for later. After I figure out... whatever. Anyway. All of this started with kind of a hope and a dream that one little boy on the inside, deep down here, that I would be able to play on Wi-Fi somewhere with, like, I don't know, old diamond version, which this is, even though my camera seems fuzzy up close. It was cool. And so I've got this, like, games and music and, like, 1,000 micro SD cards. So I was like, alright, maybe I can flash a ROM over and get it to work. I even, like, my DSi is currently plugged in because it was charging so that I could try and, like, edit everything. And I've got Black 2 over here because that was the first one that I grabbed. That's in my Oh My God action replay, Black 2, right? So, just so that you know, before I went the digital route, I tried to do this in cart as much as possible. Problem is that the DSi doesn't work that well with WPA2 bullshit. And the DSi action replays don't work on the 3DS. So I went over to my good friend Mike Selesky and I was like, hey, what do you know? And he points me to this website right here. So I bring this up mostly because this website is absolutely important and I've made you stare at it for quite a while so that you could go back to the beginning of the video and see this and be okay. Okay? So this DNS code, or DNS, is actually important later on. And again, this is the GTS, and I did want to show that everything works now that my internet has broken and redone itself or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. So I've got this demo folder. Basically, the way that Desmumi works is that Desmumi saves all the settings from wherever it was previously. And that's really good and also really shitty. And I'll explain how that works in a second. But I've got a link to a RAR, and I'll put that, if you're watching it on YouTube, it'll be down in the description. If you're watching this live on Twitch, then I'll link it to you eventually. But anyway, when you get there, right, this WinPCAP 412exe, just double click it, install it. I've already done it. It hasn't murdered my computer yet. Cool. This WFC, romhack, whatever, this has all the stuff that's in this folder. So it has the firmware.dfc, the winpcap.exe, and then the Desmumi folder. Okay? So Desmumi is an emulator if you don't know. And then, spoiler alert, this is a patched version of Pokemon Black. And it also happens to include a Pokemon Black version save file from me. So you could kidnap that for a minute, but also save states so that you can test things out and make sure that it works, and then start your own fucking save file because you can't steal mine. Otherwise, we'd have the same friend code, and then we wouldn't be able to battle, and that would be your fault. Your fault entirely. So, when you open up the romhack.rar, you want to take special care to keep an eye on that right there. Okay, so I'm going to open up a second folder of this. Let's open that, and then open up the demo folder. Okay, so this comes in handy later because it's really fucking annoying how this works. Alright? So I'm on a 64-bit operating system. You probably are too. So just go ahead and open. It doesn't really fucking matter to me. Okay? So you've got this output thing that doesn't mean anything to you. But you've got Desmumi open. Okay? You've got this firmware DLC or DFC over here in another folder. This is going to be the biggest pain in the ass because I can't explain why it does what it does. But the first thing that you have to go into is your Wi-Fi settings. Make sure that it's on infrastructure and it's got a bunch of options. Okay, Microsoft doesn't seem to do anything. If you've got Realtek in here, if your Ethernet cable or if your Ethernet chip is Realtek, then you'd hit Realtek. If it's Intel like mine is, you hit Intel and you hit OK. All right, that's your first step already done. And then you're going to go into emulation settings and make sure that your use external BIOS settings is done. And this is where Desmumi using old folders gets really annoying, because as you can see, it's got something on my computer that's on my desktop, but that isn't demo folder, it's new folder 3. So you want to locate your files, go to the demo folder, Desmumi. I put it in the firmware thing for you. And so that first one that we clicked on, that's ARM 9. You want to put BIOS 9 in, and then BIOS 7 in. So make sure that it's in the correct folder. Obviously, you are not AVOS. And then use external firmware image, and then also in the same folder that I've put there for you. So now it's on demo folder, which is where I put it. Wherever you put it, cool, you find it. As long as it doesn't have AVOS in your copy, you're good to go. All right? As long as it reads C, users, wherever the fuck you put it, your thing, BIOS 9, BIOS 7, ARM 7, BIOS 7, ARM 9, BIOS 9, and then firmware, wherever. Okay? Cool. That's most of it. All right? So now you're going to go ahead and open up the ROM, and then this is probably in the wrong place too. You see that it was trying to go to new folder 3. You want to go into where you had it. Okay? So, the other thing that you can do to change that is path settings. Okay? All of these you'll want to change too. Okay? So 3 things. You want to do your Wi-Fi settings, infrastructure, whatever your network adapter is. Okay. If you've got a ROM open, it makes you reset everything. BIOS images, 9 for 9, 7 for 7, firmware for firmware. Okay? All of them use external. Okay? And then config path settings. And then you want to make sure, wherever I put it, demo folder, and then this one is save RAM, so you put it in battery. States, you want demo folder and states. Okay, demo folder, screenshots. I just put in the Desmumi folder, wherever. That one doesn't matter as much, but cool. So again, you want to do Wi-Fi settings, emulation settings, path settings. If you don't fix this path settings thing, if you do not fix this path settings, what's going to end up happening is that your save RAM pathing is going to try to save to my computer, which won't happen because you're not on my network and you're not on my computer, because that won't exist. If you'll try and save a state, what'll happen is that it'll freak out. It'll try and save it to my computer, and since your computer isn't my computer, it'll be like, state not saved. Right? So that's what happens if you don't do it right. Okay? Cool. So now we can go in, and this is where things get a little dumb. All right? Like the rest of that makes sense. Oh, God, hold on. Sound settings. Mute, please. Cool. Okay. So now you have to load in, and then you have to go down to, you have to cursor down to this Nintendo WFC settings. Okay? And you can actually click with this, so, oh, you can't see my mouse cursor right now. So settings, let me fix that. Cancel. Monitor capture, properties. Capture mouse cursor. Cool. Now you can see it. All right. So I am actually clicking on this bottom screen, which is neat. I keep trying to click up top, but it doesn't work that way because it's a DS. So you can go ahead, erase settings, okay, connection 1, search for an access point. With all the work that you just did, you've basically set up this ad hoc network, which doesn't actually exist. It's cool, so it's like a built-in network that it pretends actually exists. And then it's going to test the connection and fail. Or in my case, succeed. In your case, probably not. After it fails, you close Desmumi, you delete that, and then you replace it with the old one that was over in the other folder. Okay? So, go through all of that bullshit, and then you go to this firmware DLC in whatever big folder that you dropped everything, and you delete it, and then go back to where you unpacked that RAR, and then you unpack, right? So this firmware DLC in that RAR, drag it, okay? This is where we deleted that from. Firmware.dfc, drag it in, okay? That's it. And then you log back in, you open the ROM, get into black version, everything pops up. If you saw a lot of errors over here, then you would know that you had a little bit of an issue with something trying to emulate. Okay, so now I want you to go back to WFC settings, okay? And I want you to pull up this part of the website again. And where this DNS is, okay? Wi-Fi settings, erase all of these. It'll do that again. Just go ahead and erase them all. They don't matter. Search for an access point. I love that my internet is completely crashing, but this is why we're recording it. Soft app, okay. Testing, testing, testing. I have completely crashed off of Twitch. Alright. So, now you're going to scroll down, auto-obtain DNS. No. Edit. Enter that number over there. Right there. 10413193887. Okay. Yes, they are. Save settings. And that should literally be it. That should be all you have to do. And then you can go back and back. And now you should be connected. Now that you've changed the DNS to not auto. So then what it's basically doing is, instead of going to an official Nintendo server to check and see if everything's legit, you should be checking into their server, which is not legit. That's basically what you've done. Now, the reason that I have included the ROM in the pack that I've got, okay, is that this WFC patcher I have already done for you with the ROM included. So, if you have your own ROM that you know works very well, you have an old save file on whatever, just download this Desmumi Wi-Fi patcher, okay? It'll be this version 1.6. You just drag it over, patch it, just follow the directions. They're pretty easy. But the one that I've already done, that I have, is already patched to work like this, okay? If you don't, then what's going to happen without that patch, if yours is not patched like the one that I included, okay? So this in here, this WFC ROM hack, is already a patched copy of Black 2. But if you wanted to use any other game, you need to come here, get this patcher, okay? And you'll download it. And I'll put it on my desktop to show you how it all works. So it's pretty easy. Okay. WinRAR telling me to buy things again. Not going to happen. Never bought it. Okay. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to move that out. Copy and paste. Cool. Okay. So this is my ROM. And all you do, literally all you do, is you drag whatever ROM you want over the top, run. And it'll do this. Okay. And I don't know where it put it. It probably put it on a different screen. Huh. It should go in there. Run. No? What? Hold on. Where did you go? Where did you go? Oh, fuck me. Well, that's not helpful. I think it already realized that it was already patched, so... there might be a little bit of editing on this. Here we go. Maybe it'll do it with this one. Alright, Pokemon Black version. Like, let's say we wanted to do this with Pokemon Black version. We're going to go ahead and run the launcher. There we go. Pokemon Black version right here. Okay. It's doing all this stuff. Cool. So now it's going to build a new one which says no SSL. And that's going to be the one that doesn't check to make sure that it's on an official server. Okay? So the one that I included in already has everything already done. That's just for Black 2 though. If you want Black, you're going to have to find it on your own. If you want Diamond, Pearl, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, they're all online. But you have to use this WFC patcher, but it literally is just drag it onto your desktop, drag whatever you want, run, and then it puts another copy of it on your desktop. Cool. Which, of course, it's rewriting this one, which is what's going on. It's just rewriting it, and it should pop up right there. Cool. Awesome. That's all it takes. All right, let's stop the recording.